Feel burned out today. Let's talk about it. So, as I've said before, I am a palliative care doctor, trained in internal medicine initially, and now I do full-time inpatient palliative care consults. Ooh, that is a goose. Ooh, don't chase me, don't chase me. So, I don't know if you can see, but so anyway, I feel burned out. And the best way I can think of resolving that burnout is by talking about it. I know there are mixed feelings about the word burnout, but I personally don't find any issues with using that term, and it's a common thing that gets thrown around these days that, oh, I'm burned out, there's a physician burnout rate, healthcare worker burnout. So let's talk about it. I think over the past 2-3 weeks, work's been tough, caseload's been heavy, and the cases I get are not necessarily easy cases. In fact, most of the time they're not. And after a while, it starts weighing on you. I think that's okay. The point of making this video is to actually just share that it's okay to be burned out, but it's not okay to not do anything about it. I think our mental health is our own responsibility. We can't depend on anyone else to come in, swoop in, and save us from feeling burned out and spiraling into a perpetual toilet of burnout, if you want to think about it that way. So I decided today I'm going to go out for a walk, take you guys with me once again, and we'll talk about burnout. Since COVID-19, there's been an increased exodus of physicians. Some surveys show that 25% of all healthcare institutions report their concern that their physicians are feeling burned out and wanting to leave. 40% of clinical nurses are thinking about leaving their current jobs, and that's from this year, by the way. And 20% of them may be thinking about quitting altogether. Now, that doesn't concern you, it should. Because America is growing, but the population is also growing older. So the boomer generation, and every generation after that, is going to start weighing on the healthcare system more and more, while people are quitting prematurely because of burnout. So you might say, well, sure, these older people, older nurses, older doctors, older physical therapists, older whatever, they're quitting, but there are people that will join the workforce, right? All these medical schools, nursing schools, they're still training people, right? Well, you'd be right. But relative to the increase in population, healthcare workers workforce is shrinking. And again, that should concern you very much in terms of what our future looks like. The only thing that seems to be relatively growing is the profession of nurse practitioners. But what that effectively means is eventually we might see a future where doctors are phased out, and if you want to see a doctor in a particular specialty, and I'm thinking probably primary care, good luck. You're going to see a nurse practitioner and you're not going to have any options to opt out. Not saying that there's anything wrong with having a nurse practitioner see you by default, but I personally think if doctors are no longer, and I mean physicians, are no longer practicing primary care, so much knowledge will be lost. And I don't think that's something that we should ignore or pretend like it's not happening. And so I want to cover burnout. That was cool. That guy just mountain biked. Holy crap. That looks fun, honestly. That will solve burnout. So, why do I think burnout is one of the cornerstones in this problem? It relates to spiritual death. What does that mean? What do I mean by spiritual death? People quit during and after the pandemic, not because they were scared of dying from COVID-19 or whatever else that was going on. There has been a huge shift in sentiment from the general public towards healthcare workers that is constantly in a trend of demoralization. And to me, that leads to eventual spiritual death. Your body may be fine, your body may be able to keep going, but your spirit has been defeated. And why is that a problem? Well, I'll take patience, for example. Hope is often what keeps people going. It keeps people alive. And when you completely extinguish people's hopes, that's when they feel like there's no future in what they're doing, and they give up. So, beautiful, by the way. So, when people lose their will to fight for what they believe in, to continue what they do, they're going to give up, they're going to quit. And patience, I see this from time to time when the oncologist, for example, tells them, you only have 3 months to live. And in their minds, they think, well, you might as well just tell me that I'm going to die. And they experience spiritual death. Their spirit has died. And what makes them human, what gives them hope, everything about that, gone, dead. And it becomes, well, you could argue that it becomes maybe like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You tell someone they're going to die in 3 months, they believe you, and they die in 3 months. So the human spirit is so important in keeping us going, yet so neglected in the workplace. As a healthcare worker myself, we're often pushed to do things that we may not necessarily agree with doing, and we may even feel like it's disrespectful of our time to do from time to time. But compared to nurses, especially, I feel like as much as sometimes it sucks for me, I think nurses and non-physician healthcare workers have it worse, because hey, at least we get paid and compensated pretty well, right? So, spiritual death. What can we do to fix that? Is there a fix? I think it will require an overhaul in the culture, in how we treat healthcare workers, how we value healthcare workers and their services and what they bring to the table, or it's going to keep bleeding. I know people that finish training, finish residency, medical school. Some don't even make it to residency and they realize they want to do other things, but some finish residency and decide, you know what, I want to take a break already. That's fatigue, that's spiritual death, and they've lost hope in what they originally believed in, which is their ability to help people, because they're placed in a system where they feel like there's no hope in realizing what they joined to do. So I mentioned that it's important to recognize burnout, and that's the first step, is to recognize that there is a problem going on. It takes a lot of self-awareness, in my opinion, to identify, hey, I'm starting to feel more friction at work with my colleagues. I'm starting to feel hesitant and going to patients' rooms, and I'm just dreading even walking into the hospital some days. And maybe I'm starting to tune people out. Maybe whatever my residents, my nurses, my colleagues are telling me, I'm just starting to tune them out. And when patients are talking to me about what they feel is important, internally I'm like, can you skip to the point already? I don't care about any. And that's when people should have the realization that there is a problem going on and try to nip it in the bud. I think the first thing to say to ourselves is, it's not our fault that we feel like that. The system is set up to be grueling and punishing, especially in the field that I work in. I think that adds extra stress and emotional burden. But in general, I like the philosophy of filling your own cup before filling other people's, because it's true, when you don't even have enough for yourself, when your cup runneth empty, it's dry, cracked, beat up, dented, it can't even hold water. It's leaky. Anything you pour in, it just leaks right out. How can you possibly pour into other people's cup and expect to take good care of other people? You can't. You just can't. And I walk around the hospital and I see a lot of, in my opinion, burnt out physicians. With the way they interact with patients, it's obvious that internally they have lost a certain degree of hope, if not the majority and even all hope. And they're just going through the motions, as I mentioned in my 3 archetypes video, of being the buffet owner, just offering people whatever they want, and if they don't want it, fine, I don't care, right? The care stopped being there. So how do we keep the spirit alive, I think, is the main question to be answered. So identifying burnout is an important step. the next step is, well, what am I going to do about it? Well, this is what I'm going to do about it. Took myself out today while there's still sun, while it's still nice to hike. Come up and do a short hike, come to the reservoir. Caught fish here, by the way. That was an incredible feeling. Is to return to doing things that make you happy. Stop trying to please other people for a change and focus on yourself. It sounds so simple, but often it's so hard to do because all healthcare workers joined to help people, and it's hard to put that hat down sometimes and say, I'm going to set a healthy boundary for myself and focus on myself today. I need a personal day or an evening just to unwind. The other thing that I know for a fact is nowadays we are so engrossed in our smartphones and tablets and computers. I don't know when it happened, but it seems like the majority of people now are hooked on some sort of short form content, and it's destroying their attention span. They're getting these dopamine hits by easily scrolling through their phone and finding new and interesting things, to the point where real life becomes dull and uninteresting. And what they do may mean less or completely lose meaning to them too. So I made a conscious decision today to put down my goddamn phone and drive over here and walk out here talk to you guys. And honestly, I need to do that more often. We don't realize that these easy things that we overlook every day slowly contributes to us getting burned out. And at this point, I can apply this broadly to whatever we're doing. We're constantly comparing ourselves to what social media wants us to believe and what other people are succeeding in doing. You know, those 20-year-old multimillionaires owning mansions, driving supercars, hot girlfriends, people that are selling courses, teaching you how to lose weight. They look amazing, and I look like a blob, right? I think we must find reality again. And reality is defined by us. Reality is not defined by what other people are trying to tell you. Right? You define your own reality. And when you put down these distracting things, you can focus inward your energy and attention span and discover what gives your life meaning, rediscover it, what gives your life meaning, and do those things so that you can start to reverse your burnout. The other thing to keep in mind is we overestimate how much we can do in a day, and we underestimate how much we can do over the course of a month or 6 months or a year. So when we have this sudden epiphany, oh, I have to change things, there can be a tendency to want to make big, giant changes abruptly that are frankly not sustainable, even if you can get to all of them. So then we experience failure and we think to ourselves, oh my God, I'm never going to escape from being burned out because I tried these things and they didn't work. Well, maybe it's not the fact that they didn't work. Maybe it's the fact that we tried to be too quick. We tried to do too many things at once. And we forget that we need to start small and build consistency. So consistently guiding your mind in the right direction will eventually yield positive results and improvements in your mental well-being. So spiritual death is something that is hard to quantify, not qualify. Because for everyone is different. And yet, the result, if you experience some degree or some form of spiritual death, is usually you want to quit. So in my patients, I see that they lose their will to live, they die shortly after, or they die exactly when the doctor said they would die. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. But in regular everyday life, losing your passion, having that spiritual death, it means that you lose direction in your life. I was speaking with Diana earlier today, and she was telling me about how she feels so sapped of energy, that she's so tired and fatigued, and she can't get off the couch. She's just so tired, so bored. And I told her, I know you feel like you're not doing anything meaningful, and you say you're not doing anything, and that's why you're bored, and that's why you're lacking energy. But actually, I argue that not doing anything is not always a bad thing. If you are on a beach, or if you're at an amusement park, and you're just sitting on a bench, sitting on the sand, people watching the waves, watching roller coasters, it could be enjoyable. You're doing nothing, but you're not sad, you're not getting your energy sapped, you're not fatigued, you're not losing your spirit. But you know what happens that causes you to lose your spirit? Is when you become uninspired. So that's the next thing. Being uninspired in what you're doing. And that can happen when we lose perspective of why we're even doing what we're doing in the first place, what got us here, why did we want to do it, and maybe it's been so long that you've been doing this same thing over and over again that you're just spiritually crushed. You become uninspired and you feel like you need something new. And guess what? You do. But what you need isn't something completely new. What you might need actually is to rediscover the things that used to excite you, used to make you jump out of bed, beat the alarm clock, wake up before anybody else was awake in the house. Things that made you not even be able to go to sleep. Things that made you want to skip lunch and dinner and just do. That's your passion that keeps your spirit alive. Lose sight of that, eventually, no matter how strong your spirit, it dies. So my thing is, if I feel uninspired, I want to talk about it. And what better way to talk about it than to share on video my thoughts. So hopefully that the next time I feel down, I feel like shit, I could rewatch this video and I could remind myself, you need to get out there, put down your phone, get out there, find what matters to you, find who matters to you, spend time and rediscover yourself, because your spirit is so important. Without your spirit, you're nothing. You could be the strongest man in the world for all I care. Once your spirit is broken, once your spirit is dead, you're burned out, you're done. I think what's funny is I plan to do a video today, and I still might, but it wasn't supposed to be on this topic. I just felt overwhelmingly slow, way down today. My cases weren't even that hard in retrospect. And now that I'm talked about it, it's even less of a challenging day, but at that moment, I just felt like, wow, I cannot get myself out of my computer chair. I cannot bring myself to see patients. I want to procrastinate by scrolling through Instagram. I want to procrastinate by checking my stocks. So to wrap up, so many things in this world will try to distract us from what is important, to crush our spirit. Maybe not intentionally, but it does anyway. And lead us to be uninspired and to spiritual death. The world is crazy right now. And we can only control what's within our sphere of power to control. And I think that burnout is definitely something that not only we can control, but it is our responsibility to control. We are responsible for our own wellness, and when we are in control, the people around us, maybe the people we serve, will benefit from it. So I already know tomorrow when I go back to the hospital, having made this video, having debriefed with you all, I'm gonna feel a hell of a lot better. Thanks for listening. And I am gonna make that video, but that's gonna be in a separate video. So go check that out. I want to talk about my very first week of residency. So hope you found this. If you stay till the end, I hope you found this to be somewhat helpful to you if you're struggling like I was today. You're not alone. Whoever you are, you matter, and you can be better. If you're struggling, feel better. Go out there, find yourself, look inward. Don't have to go anywhere, in fact. If all you want to do is just meditate, look inward, that's fine. Do something. Do something different. Don't get stuck in the loop of what you're doing that's killing your spirit. All right, I'm going to finish this hike I'm gonna start the next video. Catch you on the next one. Let me know what your thoughts are. Any questions, leave it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Peace.